The subway station was loud and crowded. People were pushing, rushing, looking at their phones, and trying to get home after work. Maya stood near the yellow line, waiting for the train like she did every evening. Her long coat was old, and her shoes were wet from the cold rain outside, but her face was calm and kind. She was just another face in the crowd. When the train finally arrived, she stepped in and looked around. There were no empty seats. She grabbed a pole and stood near the corner, quietly listening to the sound of the train moving. That's when he entered. A tall figure walked into the train car. He was not human. His skin was covered in gold and bronze scales that shimmered under the subway lights. His head was long like a lizard's, with small horns curling backward. His shoulders were broad, his arms thick like a warrior's. Some people gasped quietly. Others looked away. One woman covered her child's eyes. No one wanted to sit near him. The alien dragon man stood near the door, his heavy body leaning against the wall. He looked exhausted, his chest rising and falling slowly, as if he had walked a long way. His large eyes, deep green with a glow inside, scanned the train. But no one met his gaze, except Maya. She watched him for a moment, then looked at the seat she had just taken. A man had just stood up to leave. Without thinking, Maya stepped forward. "Here," she said gently, pointing to the seat. The alien blinked. He looked down at her with surprise. No words came from his mouth. "It's okay," Maya smiled. "You can sit." The dragon man slowly moved forward, still watching her as if unsure it was real. Then he sat down carefully, folding his arms. Across his chest, the train moved again. People stared but said nothing. Maya stood near him, holding the pole with both hands. The alien looked at her once more and gave a small bow of his head. He said something in a language she didn't understand. But his tone was soft, respectful. Maya didn't reply. She just smiled again and nodded. Then the train stopped. This was her station. As the doors opened, she stepped out and turned around. Through the glass of the subway door, she saw the alien dragon man still looking at her. He was watching her like he had never seen anything like her before. Then the doors closed and the train pulled away. Maya walked home without thinking too much about it. For her, it was a small thing, just a seat, just a little kindness. She made a cup of tea and watched the rain fall outside her window. Her life was quiet. She lived alone, worked a simple office job, and didn't get involved in much. She didn't know her small action had just been seen by something greater than she could imagine. Up in orbit, above Earth, a satellite belonging to the galactic scaled empire picked up a signal. It was a report from a warrior. Code. Name. VAREC. Report. One human female performed the rite of sacred respect. She offered her seat to a warrior of the bronze bloodline. She showed no fear, no hesitation. I request official notice be sent to the High Brood Council. She must be recognized. The signal moved fast, bouncing from satellite to mothership, from mothership to deep space relay. Within hours, the message reached the central throne planet of the Dragon Empire, the Brood Council. Read it in silence. A low growl echoed in the great chamber. She offered him the place of honor, said one of the elders. This has not happened since the ancient treaty with the Thalen queens. Was it a trick? Asked another. No, said the elder warrior. The dragon who received it speaks clearly. It was real. She did it from her heart. Then, send the ships, the Grand Broodmother declared. Send them not for war, but for gratitude. We must meet this human. Back on Earth, Maya had no idea what was happening in the stars above. She went to bed early, thinking tomorrow would be another normal day. But the stars were already moving. And the next morning, the skies over Earth would never be the same again. Asterisk. The sun had barely risen when strange shadows appeared in the sky. People stood still in the streets, necks tilted upward. It looked like clouds at first, but then the dark shapes began to move, slow and heavy like mountains drifting across the blue dot. No one knew where they came from. There had been no warning, no alarms, no news reports. Just silence followed by the deep hum that made buildings vibrate. Windows rattled. Car alarms went off. Birds flew in wild circles. Maya was brushing her teeth when the lights flickered. The water in her sink shook. She frowned, looked out the window, and her breath caught in her throat. Dot in the sky, right above the city, hovered a massive ship. Its body looked like it was built from dark stone and burning metal. Glowing lines ran along its surface, like veins on a giant beast. It was shaped like a wide dragon's wing, spread across the sky. People in nearby buildings stood at their windows, some recording with their phones, others frozen in fear. Maya turned on the TV, searching for news. But every channel showed the same thing, a live feed of the ship above the city. News anchors spoke in shocked tones. "This is not an attack," one voice said. "No weapons have been fired. The ship has made no aggressive moves." Then came a strange sound. Not from the TV but from the sky. A deep, echoing voice boomed across the city in perfect English. "We seek the one called Maya, the girl who gave the seat of honor." Maya dropped the remote. Her heart slammed in her chest. "What?" "She," whispered Dot outside. Her neighbors looked around, confused. Some even looked toward her building. How did they know her name? Down below, government cars were already speeding through the streets. Maya's phone rang. An unknown number. She answered with shaking fingers. "Miss Maya," a calm but serious voice said. "Please stay calm. We are sending an escort. Do not leave your home. You are safe, but you must come with us." She didn't say anything. She just nodded, even though the caller couldn't see. 10 minutes later, black cars arrived in front of her building. Armed guards in suits walked her out while neighbors stared. No one knew what was going on, only that something big had happened, and she was at the center of it. They drove her to a secure government base outside the city. As she stepped out of the car, she saw soldiers, scientists, and generals all moving quickly, shouting orders, checking screens. They brought her into a room with high walls, computers, and a giant screen showing the ship above the earth. A woman in a navy blue suit stood waiting. She had sharp eyes and a firm voice. "You're the girl from the subway," the woman said. "You gave your seat to an alien. We didn't know he was a high-ranking warrior. You've been marked with something big." Maya tried to speak, but her mouth was dry. "I just gave him a seat, that's all." The woman nodded slowly. Well, to his people, that was everything. The screen changed. Now it showed a live feed from inside the alien ship. The dragon man she had helped was standing tall in front of what looked like a throne made of lava stone and glowing crystal. He spoke calmly. His voice translated into perfect English. "We come not to threaten," he said. "We come in honor. The girl Maya gave me the seat of respect, an ancient act of trust and peace. I returned to my kind and told the story. The Broodmother ordered us to respond with thanks." The room went quiet. No one breathed. Maya's legs felt weak. She sat down slowly. "Why me?" she whispered. The woman in the suit answered. "Because you did something rare. You showed kindness without reason. No cameras, no reward, just pure heart. And now an entire alien empire wants to meet you." Outside the base, a second ship appeared in the sky, then a third and a fourth, all different in size and color, but all with one thing in common: scales of bronze and gold, and glowing symbols of the dragon clans. The Earth was no longer alone. And Maya, the girl who gave up her seat, had just become the most important person on the planet. The room was silent as Maya stood face to face with him again, the dragon man from the subway. But this time, he wasn't alone. He stood tall at the center of a large alien chamber, surrounded by other dragons. Their scales glowed in different Colors red, silver, black and gold. They were bigger than him, older, more powerful. Some had wings folded behind their backs, some had armor made of stone and bone. But all of them watched her with sharp, glowing eyes. Maya wasn't on Earth anymore. She had been gently taken from the base after agreeing to a meeting. No handcuffs, no pressure, just a quiet request and a promise she would be safe. The ship had carried her into orbit, smooth and silent, past the clouds and stars, until it docked inside the largest ship she had ever seen. It was like a floating city in space. Now she stood at the center of the Dragon Council room, a giant hall made of black metal and burning light. The air smelled like fire and stone. The Dragon Man stepped forward. "I am Varric," he said, "of the Bronze bloodline. You honored me without knowing. Now our kind wishes to honor you." Maya looked around. She felt small. Her heart beat fast, but she kept her voice steady. "I didn't do anything special. I just gave you a seat." A deep voice came from behind her. It belonged to a dragon elder with silver horns and a long flowing robe. "To us, you gave respect. You offered a tired warrior the seat of honor. No one else did, not even your own kind." The room rumbled with agreement. It wasn't anger. It was awe. Another elder stood. Her scales were a dark purple. Her eyes glowed like moons. "You reminded us of a promise we made long ago to honor kindness wherever it appears, even if it comes from a world we do not know." Varric stepped forward again, holding a small glowing stone in his clawed hand. It was red and gold, shaped like a drop of fire. "This is the Pact of the Scales," he said. "It is given only to those who show truth without fear. It marks you as a friend of the dragon clans. It gives you the right to call on us when your people are in danger. It also means you are under our protection." Maya stared at the stone. She didn't know what to say. She didn't feel like a hero. She didn't feel brave. She was just a girl who gave someone her seat on the subway. But now she was being offered a connection to an ancient and powerful race. Slowly, with shaking hands, she took the stone. It felt warm, like it had its own heartbeat. The dragons bowed their heads. In that moment, Maya felt something change inside her. Not power, not pride, just responsibility. She looked up at them and said, "Thank you. I accept." The room lit up with soft flames dancing along the walls. It was a sign of deep respect in their culture. But the moment of peace did not last. An alarm rang out across the chamber, low and sharp, like a dragon's roar. Varric turned quickly, eyes narrowed. A young dragon warrior rushed into the room. "High Lords," he said, "a new ship has entered Earth's orbit. It is not one of ours. It carries the mark of the Crimson Talon." The elders growled. "The Crimson Talon do not follow the old ways," one said. "They are war-blooded." "They see kindness as weakness," said another. Varric looked at Maya. "They may come for you." Maya's hand tightened around the pack stone. "Why? What do they want from me?" "Some believe your act was false. A trick. They fear what you stand for. If they see you as a threat, they will try to silence you." Maya's mouth went dry. The elder with the silver horn stood again. "Then we must return her to Earth, but we will not leave her. If war comes, we stand by her side." Maya felt fear rise in her chest, but also something else. Strength. She looked at them and said, "Then take me back. If danger is coming, I want to face it with my people. I won't run." The dragons looked at each other. Varric smiled, a rare expression on a face like his, spoken like one of us. The ships began to move, and Earth, still confused and unprepared, had no idea that two dragon fleets, one sworn to protect, one ready to destroy, were now flying toward it. The sky over Earth was no longer quiet. It was early morning in New York when people heard the strange sound again, a hum, deep and steady, like the breath of something ancient. But this time, there were two ships above the city. One was the massive golden-winged dragon ship that now felt almost familiar. The other was new black, sharp and cold like a knife. People stopped walking. Cars stopped in the streets. Soldiers looked up from their posts with nervous hands. The second ship had no banners, no glowing welcome signs. Only red marks across its hull that looked like claws. Maya stood on the balcony of the government safe house, looking at both ships from behind bulletproof glass. Her fingers gripped the edge of the railing. Varek stood behind her, silent. Watching the sky. That ship, Maya said quietly. It's different, Varek nodded. His jaw was tight. They are from the Crimson Talon clan, he said. They do not believe in peace. To them, power is everything. They think kindness weakens the blood. She turned to him. And they came here because of me. He didn't answer right away. They believe the Pact of the Scales should not be given to humans. They believe only the strong should earn loyalty, not the kind, not the weak. Maya's heart thudded in her chest. Then why are they here? Varek stepped beside her, his golden scales glowing under the sunlight. They will test you, he said, not with words, with fire. A deep rumble echoed across the sky. Suddenly, the black ship opened. A loud sound shook the clouds, and a dark figure flew from its belly, wings spread wide. Red armor glowed across his body like magma. His horns were long, and his eyes burned like two suns. He landed in the middle of Central Park, trees bending under the force. The ground cracked. People screamed and ran, but no attacks followed. Instead, the Red Dragon warrior spoke. Bring the human called Maya. Let us see if she is truly worthy. On every screen around the world, the same words repeated. The government turned to Maya. You don't have to go, one general said. We'll send a team. But Varek stepped forward. If you hide, they will call you coward. If we fight, war will come. But if you stand before them and remain calm, it will show power beyond any blade. Maya looked at him. Her voice was soft but steady. Then take me to the park. The world watched as a transport ship lowered gently. Into Central Park, the door opened. Maya stepped out with Varek beside her. She wore no armor, no protection, just simple clothes and the glowing pact of the scales around her neck. The Red Dragon stood tall, waiting. He laughed. This is the one, he said, mocking. This small thing? Maya looked up at him. Yes, I gave my seat to someone who looked tired, that's all. The Red Dragon walked in slow circles around her. To give kindness without force, he said, is not strength. Maya didn't flinch. To help someone when no one else does, that takes courage. For a moment, the Red Dragon was silent. Then he stepped back and roared, fire exploding from his mouth into the air. People screamed again, but the fire never touched her. It was a warning. A show. Then he looked down at her and said, you are strange, but your courage smells real. He turned away and launched into the sky. His ship followed him. The threat was gone, but not for long. Varek looked at Maya with pride. You stood without shaking, he said. I was shaking, Maya whispered, but I didn't show it. That night, Maya sat by the window, watching the stars. Her hands were cold, but her heart burned. The Red Dragons would return. Next time. They might not test her with words, but now she knew she would be ready. The sky was dark when it happened. No alarms. No fire. No soldiers running through the streets. Just silence, and then she was gone. Maya had fallen asleep in her room at the Earth security base. She had spoken to leaders all day. Everyone wanted her advice, her words, her voice. But all she wanted was rest. She didn't know eyes were watching her through hidden lights. Not enemies, not attackers, but a different kind of danger, one that believed too much in her. They came through the wall without sound. 4 tall figures wearing soft silver armor, not made for battle, but for stealth. They moved like wind, soft and careful. Their scales shimmered in soft blue patterns. One touched her forehead gently. She didn't feel pain. She didn't even wake up. They carried her out under a blanket of invisibility. And just like that, Maya disappeared from Earth. When she opened her eyes, she was in a room made of crystal. And vines, warm light danced on the ceiling. It didn't feel like a prison. The bed was soft. A small table had fresh fruit. But the door had no handle. Maya sat up slowly. She wasn't tied. She wasn't hurt, but she was not free. A soft voice spoke from the wall. "You are safe here. Maya, please do not be afraid." "Where am I?" she asked. "In the heart of the verdant Talon ship," the voice answered. "We have brought you away from danger. The Crimson Talon may return. Earth is weak. We cannot risk losing you." Maya stood. Her voice was sharp now. "You took me without asking." "We had no choice," the voice said. "We honor you too much to let harm find you." A door opened with a soft sound, and a tall female dragon stepped inside. Her scales were a calm green, her eyes soft and thoughtful. She wore no weapons, only flowing robes. "I am Lear," she said. "My clan wishes to keep you safe forever." Maya stared at her. "Even if I say no?" Lear nodded. "Yes." Anger rose in Maya's chest. "Then this is not kindness, this is a cage." Lear looked down, her expression unreadable. "We believed we were doing the right thing." Maya stepped forward. "Kindness means letting someone choose, not locking them away, even in a golden room." There was a pause, then Lear sighed. "You speak like the elders of old, perhaps. We were wrong." Outside the ship, Varrock was already on the move. He had discovered the scent trail left behind. When Earth officials realized Maya was gone, he growled loud enough to shake the command room. "You do not take a friend," he said, "not even to protect her." He flew into space, alone, tracking the verdant Talon ship across the stars. He passed asteroids, moons, and cold black space, guided only by his memory and the bond of the pack. Back in the crystal room, Maya sat across from Lear, her voice steady. "I understand you were trying to help, but I am not yours. I belong to no one. My place is with my people. And if danger comes, I will stand with them." Lear stood slowly. "Then you will be returned." At that moment, the walls shook. A deep roar echoed through the ship. Varrock had arrived. One wall cracked open as the bronze dragon burst inside, eyes burning with fury. His wings folded behind him as he stepped between Maya and the others. "Next time," he growled. "Ask." Lear bowed her head. "We meant no harm." "You caused harm anyway," he said. Maya stepped beside him. "Take me home." He nodded. The two walked together to the ship. Behind them, the dragons of the verdant Talon watched in silence. As they flew back to Earth, Varrock looked at her. "You were calm, even in their hands." "I wasn't calm," she said. "I was just sure of one thing. If you take away someone's freedom, even with good reason, you lose the meaning of kindness." He nodded slowly. "You are more dragon than human now." She smiled faintly. "No. I'm just human, but that should be enough." The grand chamber was packed with alien leaders from across the stars. Tall beings with wings, short ones with 6 eyes, glowing robes, shells, feathers, fur. Over 50 worlds had sent their highest voices. They filled the wide circular hall built into the Dragon Mother's main ship, a floating court that rarely moved. Unless the matter was urgent. This time, it moved for one reason. Her. Maya stood at the center of it all. No guards, no armor, no weapons. Just her voice, her plain jacket, and the pact of the scales glowing on her chest. They had called her here not for war, but to answer a question. What made a human girl worthy of galactic protection? Varrock stood silently behind her, like a statue, made of bronze fire. Even he, a warrior of high rank, was not allowed to speak now. A giant alien with 4 arms and a crystal face raised a long finger. You are not royalty. Not a soldier. Not even a leader of your planet. Why should your people gain honor from your small act? Maya looked up. She did not bow. She did not flinch. I didn't ask for this, she said softly. I gave up my seat because someone looked tired. That's it. I didn't know he was a warrior. I didn't care what planet he came from. I just saw someone who needed it more than I did. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some of the leaders scoffed. Others leaned forward. Creature made of smoke hissed. Kindness is weakness. What if you had offered your seat to an assassin? Maya nodded. Then maybe I would have died with kindness in my heart, instead of walking away doing nothing. A silence fell over the room. She stepped forward, speaking louder now. I'm not asking to be a symbol. I didn't do what I did to be remembered. But if you're all here asking why my kindness matters, maybe the real question is, why is it so rare? A golden-scaled elder shifted in his chair. His eyes met hers. We follow strength, he said. It has always guided peace. Maya's voice stayed strong. Then peace is weak, because strength fades. But kindness, true kindness, stays. It grows, it teaches. That's how humans survive. That's how we build. The room buzzed with whispers again. One alien queen with silver wings stood. Her face was hard, but her eyes were curious. Would your people do what you did? Would they offer a seat to one of us if we looked tired? Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled, not with pride, but with hope. Some would. And some wouldn't. But if even one more human sees what happened and chooses to be better tomorrow, then that's enough. The elder dragons looked at each other. The Broodmother finally rose. Her voice was deep and shaking, like thunder wrapped. In silk, this human has spoken with no weapon, no command, no crown, yet the room has listened. She turned toward Maya. Then let this be written. The pact of the scales remains. Not because of tradition, but because her spirit moves us. A wave of fire danced above the council as a symbol of agreement. Varric stepped beside Maya as they walked out of the chamber. His voice was low. You faced a galaxy of power and didn't blink. She shook her head. I was terrified. He looked at her. Then you are even stronger than I thought. Outside the chamber, more ships were arriving. Some came with curiosity, others with caution. But all had one reason to meet the human who reminded them what peace could look like. Back on Earth, people watched her speech on every screen. It was broadcast live, translated into every language. A subway worker in Tokyo wiped his eyes. A boy in a wheelchair in Nigeria clapped softly. A woman in Chicago made space for a stranger beside her on the train. Maya didn't know all that. She only sat quietly by the viewing window in the ship, looking at Earth below, its oceans calm and clouds glowing. She touched the packstone on her chest, not because she wanted praise, but because now she knew exactly what it meant to carry it. The train arrived with its usual screeching sound. The doors slid open. People pushed in, as they always did, hurrying, tired, barely looking up from their screens. It was a normal morning in New York City, just like any other. But one thing was different. At the center of the car sat Maya. No guards. No cameras, just a quiet smile on her face. She had returned to Earth only 2 days ago, after the Galactic Council meeting. No one had told her to go back to the subway. No one gave her orders. She just wanted to ride the train again. Like before everything had changed. The seat she had once given away, the seat that started everything, was empty beside her. The train rocked gently as it moved. A small girl with glowing blue freckles stepped in, holding a soft backpack. She was alien, maybe 6 or 7 years old, her horns still short and curled. People on the train noticed her. Some looked curious. Others shifted away. The girl looked around for a place to sit. Maya patted the seat next to her. The girl blinked, then smiled shyly and sat down. Her legs didn't reach the floor. Maya leaned in. First time riding a human train? The girl nodded quickly. It's okay, Maya said. You're safe here. The girl looked up at her. Are you the one from the stars? Maya paused, then smiled again. I'm just someone who gave up a seat. Outside the subway, the world had started to change, not from laws, not from force, but from watching. In Paris, a man let a tired alien worker rest under his umbrella. In Lagos, a boy gave half his lunch to a merchant with green skin and golden eyes. In Brazil, a human nurse helped a scaled mother give birth without asking where she was from. And above Earth, ships still floated. Dragon ships, watchers, protectors. They did not invade. They did not rule. They only stayed near, ready, if ever called. Varrock stood at the edge of one of them, looking down through the view portal. His armor was polished. His eyes were quiet. She returned alone, one of the young warriors said beside him. Varrock nodded. Because humans walk best when they walk free. He turned and left the chamber. He had somewhere to be, back underground. The train stopped at another station. A tall figure stepped in, wrapped in a long coat, hood over his head. He moved slowly, carefully, his eyes scanning the car. He had bronze scales peeking from beneath his collar. When he saw Maya, he smiled. She stood up. Word. She gave him the seat again. He laughed quietly and sat down. People watched them, but no one moved away this time. Maya stayed standing, holding the rail. You didn't have to come back, she whispered. I did, Varrock replied. Not as a warrior, just as a friend. The train moved on, humming quietly. In the far distance, above the planet, a golden message was sent into the stars. Earth has offered peace, not through power but through a seat. That message reached hundreds of systems. Some ignored it, but others listened. Across the galaxy, chairs were placed at the center of great halls. Empty ones, waiting for someone, anyone who might offer them, not with pride, but with heart. And so the girl who gave her seat on a subway ended up giving a seat to the galaxy. Not to rule, not to control, but to share. And the stars, for the first time in ages, leaned closer.